Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with your latest on the CM Punk situation with the latest news and speculation. Basically, after listening to Wrestling Observer Radio last night, there is no real news that came out about CM Punk. Basically, the whole situation is being taken care of by Vince McMahon. There's no real one thing that CM Punk really got up and took his ball and went home about. It just was the whole mix of a whole bunch of things. Basically, CM Punk wasn't really that happy about the way he was being used on the show, and he wasn't even that crazy about what he was doing going into WrestleMania. Honestly, I think of a CM Punk versus Triple H sort of feud at WrestleMania, honestly, would have been one of the top 3 matches on the card, and I don't understand why he, isn't that happy about it. The way Dave Meltzer explained it was that there's a lot of speculation going on about CM Punk, how his contract comes up in a few months. This is WrestleMania, and basically they were thinking that Triple H was going to want to go over because they're not going to want to put somebody over who's on their way out of the company. Honestly, in my mind, if CM Punk is going to leave WWE, he's going to be WWE's top big free agent. I don't really honestly see him on anybody else's board out there. I know a lot of people would love to have the dream of CM Punk going back to Ring of Honor, but honestly, in my mind, Ring of Honor isn't the company that it once was back in the day. TNA is the company that is probably pushing its budget to the limit with their latest free agent signings of MVP and the Wolves. I don't find there's any way in the world that CM Punk signs a deal to go over there. I know it was a real big swing when they were able to get Kurt Angle, when they were able to get Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam. But those signings really pushed them way over the top of their budget, and as you can see, more people are leaving TNA than are coming in. I think that Dixie Carter might be at the end of their ropes. I think that she can still make this company go on. I don't think that this company is dying out today or tomorrow or the next day, but I just don't see them. Nobody really knows a whole lot about the new Jeff Jarrett wrestling company that I guess is being backed by Toby Keith. Maybe. I mean, if they need a big star, there's him and AJ Styles. Those are really the 2 only real big free agents that are out there on the market that if people turn on their TV, they're going to be able to know who they're seeing. And as AJ Styles pointed out in his shooting review when he was asked, why he wasn't champion longer the times that he had the belts in the early days of TNA was because when they were shopping the company and they were putting it out there for people to see, seeing if they would be able to get a time slot on different companies, the people in the companies knew who Jeff Jarrett was because they would watch him on Nitro and they would watch him on Raw. They didn't know who AJ Styles was. They knew that he was talented. They knew he was good, but they didn't know who the heck he was and didn't think if they didn't know who he was, people who were viewing their TV station wouldn't know who he was and wouldn't stick around because they wouldn't think of it as a big deal. They didn't want to give the guy a chance to grow, and that's why, in the early days of TNA, when he would win the belt, they weren't for, big, long, huge runs. I guess they talked about in the mailbag, CM Punk, if he does want to quit WWE, he is well and free, allowed to quit WWE. He doesn't have to work for them, but he does have a contract to hold up, and that contract holds up where he's not allowed to go work anywhere else. No Ring of Honor, no New Japan, no TNA, no nothing. So basically, he's just frozen in time at the spot he's at, and they're not going to be able to do what they want to do. I've been trying to think of a situation where Vince McMahon can go to CM Punk and say, hey, what do you want in order to come back? And I guess, there is no one thing, like I said earlier, but WrestleMania is one of the hottest topics that is out there, Can we give you a big match that'll give you a big feel to make you happy, to at least let you work out the end of your contract with us? And that way, the fans will be happy that you didn't leave early. Plus, WWE is upset that this story got leaked and is being, handled pretty much on the internet. I know, CM Punk hasn't gone to his Twitter and tried to rally up the troops, but it seems like the CM Punk fans of the world have rallied up themselves, and it basically, they've taken over the Facebook page, they've taken over the YouTube page. Anytime WWE posts a video or a comment or a picture, no matter who it's about, they go to the We Want Punk, and they talk about how they love CM Punk and they want to see this guy. It's one way of letting them know that that the WWE does have a big star in CM Punk. I know that they think he's on the cuff of being, a pop culture guy, that's a real big deal. But honestly, I think he is a big deal. And he's one of the biggest wrestling stars we have in wrestling today. And we just see the way, fans just sort of clam to this guy and think that he's their guy. I mean, even in 2006, when this guy came in to ECW in his debut, when the guy won his first Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, the fans were really behind this guy, because you can tell that he loves wrestling and he loves what he does. He might not love us, the fans, that much, but he is really, really good at what he does as well. The only match I can really see that CM Punk can say that he wants, that it's going to be a big deal, is him versus Undertaker. And now, honestly, I'm thinking, I know CM Punk and Undertaker had their problems in the past. Undertaker is one of the reasons why Punk's first title run was cut short, because he didn't think Punk was, supporting or, making the business look that great. With the style of dress he chose to wear when he was champion, not walking around like he was a champion, just basically being himself, to where they had Taker beat Punk at a pay-per-view, and just that was it. They went on and they did have a short little feud, and maybe they've cleared it up. They had a really great match at WrestleMania last year, but the way that Taker loves and respects this business and hides and holds it at a high regard. You got to wonder how Undertaker is looking at this situation. That there's a story of Undertaker taping his fists up at WrestleMania, just in case Shawn Michaels didn't want to do the job, the Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was going to walk out. He wasn't going to have a repeat situation of the whole thing with Bret and Shawn in Montreal years ago. There's never been a real confirmation of this story. It's just been told from so many different sources that I've always sort of believed it is true. But, a guy that is sort of hijacking the company and not wanting to go to work, how is Undertaker going to want to work with this guy? I know that Taker's always going to go out there. He's always going to have the best match he can. And I know that him and Lesnar is going to be, it's at least going to be, a slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say. These guys are going to beat the piss out of each other, much like him and Triple H did, and it's going to be fun. One of those sort of no-holds-barred sort of battles where they're hitting each other with chairs and the ring steps, and just basically anything they can get their hands on. If Triple H leaves his sledgehammer out there underneath the ring on accident, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be entertaining. But if Punk does say, hey, if I can get a match with Taker, I can come back, you got to wonder how much Taker is going to take care of Punk and how much they're going to want to really work together. Could it just really turn into a shit fest? Because, Taker doesn't take a lot of shit for the wrestling business. He supports it. He backs it up. It's how he's made his livelihood. And he's done some weird stuff for the business before. I mean, especially, if this is on the big stage, could we end up getting hurt by this? I think the best thing, honestly, that could happen is CM Punk takes his time away. Honestly, he just doesn't want to do this as of right now. I don't think there is any company in the world that has the money to bring in CM Punk. If he's going to wrestle, it's going to be a big deal, and, that's just basically it. I don't see him being, a big... I don't see him wanting to be a big fish in a small pond. He's not going to be able to support a whole wrestling company by himself, no matter how many fans he has. When Jeff Hardy went to TNA, he was honestly probably one of the 5 biggest wrestling stars there was in wrestling. And look at him now. I mean, he's a big star for TNA. They tried to build Bound for Glory around him a couple of years ago, and just nothing moved. I mean, Kurt Angle's a great wrestler, but who thinks of, Kurt Angle as being a huge star in professional wrestling anymore? It's almost like he's that one guy who's hung around in sports just way too long, and he hasn't wrestled a match that's really meant anything in a long time. I mean, it's great that TNA's inducted him in his TNA Hall of Fame twice because they have no other stars there, but I don't know. If Punk's going to go anywhere, it's going to be WWE. Let him go home. Let him figure shit out. Let him, get that fire in his stomach that he wants to wrestle again. If he comes back in 6 months, that's going to put you after SummerSlam in that, that Night of Champions, Hell in the Cell sort of, time of the year that nobody really cares about wrestling, and having a CM Punk emerge and come back as sort of like the guy that's, getting it all spun up. He can, I don't know if the Authority's going to be a group still or not, but he can go after, Triple H or whoever's in charge and push for a match then, and that can lead into him winning the Rumble and going on to next year's WrestleMania if he wants to re-sign another deal or end his contract that way. Maybe they can give him an AJ Styles run where he just wins the championship at his last match, and then he can finally leave with the belt, and then they can sort of recreate 2011, seeing how long he wants to sit out with the title. I don't know. I mean, those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think that's going to happen? What do you guys really think at the end of the day CM Punk is going to do with his career? I honestly don't see him going anywhere. I can tell by my comments you guys want him to go to New Japan or Ring of Honor. Honestly, if he goes to Ring of Honor, he's going to fall off my map. Maybe I'll buy his, greatest hits DVD that comes out once a year. If he goes to New Japan, in my opinion, his career's over to me. I don't know what the hell's going on over there besides listening to the Observer review of the shows over there, and even then, I don't know what the hell's going on. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out.